All right, it looks like we are live here for our Tech Talk today. And hello everyone who is chiming in here. My name is Jackie and I am the Tech Librarian at Heights Libraries. And we're going to get started with a Tech Talk here. And so we will get started with that. For anyone coming in here. All right, so we will get started with our Tech Talk. This is Staying Safe Online. And all right, so Staying Safe Online. I will get started. If anyone has any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment box, and I will try my best to answer them here. So, talking about staying safe online, first, to introduce the topic, I want you to think of the internet as the Wild West. So the internet is not very old. It's what, 25, 26, 27 years old, and it was not designed for privacy. So it was not designed for privacy, in that when the internet was created, I don't think anyone really had any idea of how it would be used and how mainstream it would become to everyone's lives. So it was not designed for safety and security. I think you could think of the internet as like a public place in that there is no internet police. What is going on the internet is greatly unregulated. So that really does give yourself a starting point for just thinking about the internet and how you do need to be careful when you're on the internet in terms of your own security and safety. There isn't anyone sort of dictating your activity on the internet, and that can lead to just some trickiness. And so that's why we're going to talk about staying safe online today. So to start off, I do want to say that we're going to be talking about passwords, the internet, encryption, email, mobile devices, and security at home in this Tech Talk. So these are all the topics we're going to talk about, and I'll start going over them one by one here. So with passwords, I would like you to think of passwords as your first line of defense with internet safety. So passwords are a really great place to start. If you have strong passwords, that's going to go a long way in terms of protecting your different accounts online and making sure that you're not subject of hacking or data breaches or things like that. So I'm going to talk about a couple of methods for setting up strong passwords. So the first one is the Shiner method. And before I talk about this method for creating a strong password, I do want to mention to you that when I say a strong password, I mean that passwords should have letters, numbers, special characters, like maybe an exclamation point or a pound sign or a money sign, an ampersand, an asterisk. Those are all special characters. And having those things makes the password stronger, like a combination of those things. So letters, numbers, and special characters. It can be especially useful if you're also using uppercase and lowercase letters. Also, think about the length of your passwords. The longer your password is, the more random your password is, the stronger it's going to be. So this first method here with those parameters in mind is called the Shiner method. And with this method, basically you want to begin with a sentence. So this is a good method for creating a random password. So think of a sentence. This can be a quote, a favorite song, lyric, or it could just be a, this is a sentence maybe about your life. I have 6 granddaughters and 4 grandsons. So from that sentence, you will pull out all of the first letters and special characters from that sentence. And that gives you this password. Extremely random, but you have the sentence to refer back to. Because this may look random, but you know that it stands for I have 6 granddaughters and 4 grandsons, exclamation mark. And this includes all of the important things that we need for a password. It has letters, numbers, and special characters. It also has a capital letter in it. It's very random, and it's long as well. This is not a word or a sentence in the English language. It ends up just being a very random, secure password. But you also have the ability to refer back to that sentence to remember it before it becomes sort of ingrained in your head. So that is one method you can use for creating a password, the Shiner method. The next method is the diceware method. And essentially you will need to pull out a die from maybe a board game you have lying around the house, and you want to roll that die 5 times to create a 5-digit number like we did below. So the number below is 16551, and there is a master word list online. You could look up the diceware method, or if you call the library and you request the handout, the Staying Safe Online handout, the URL for that master list is in the handout. So the 16551, it gives you the name, the word confront, and you want to repeat this until you have a 5 to 7 word password. So essentially doing this 5 to 7 times is going to give you a really random password. It's just going to be like random words in the English language. And you're doing this by rolling the die to get a 5-digit number, referencing that word list, and repeating 5 to 7 times. So you end up with 5 to 7 random words as your password. So that's another method for creating passwords. So here's an example of if you were going to do this, you come up with this random password of confront, kick, bank book, lurch, oil, false, unhitched. And you could put all those words together, or a password will allow you to have spaces as well. So that's another way you could make a password more secure, is having spaces in your password. If you are curious how secure some of your current passwords are, you can go online and go to this website, How Secure Is My Password, and you can type in one of your current passwords, and the website will give you its opinion about how secure it is, how long it would take a computer program to crack your password. So that is a fun and maybe interesting thing that you can do if you are trying to gauge the strength of your current passwords. So this password above, we can't see what it is, but we can see that it's very, very long. And it says it would take a computer about 213 duodecillion years to crack your password. So that's a very secure password. That's the kind you want. All right. So that was passwords and creating strong passwords, ideas for a couple of methods to create those strong passwords. Next, I do want to talk about password managers. And so let's see here. So if we're talking about a password manager can be really useful because technically another thing that you can do to make your accounts more secure is having a different password for each account. But how the heck do you remember all of those passwords if you have different ones for each account? In this case, you might find a password manager useful. This is an online program where you create an account, and it essentially allows you to store all of your passwords in a vault, a very, very secure online vault. And instead of having to remember many, many passwords, you just have to remember one very, very secure password that allows you to log into different websites and accounts with the password manager aiding you. So it secures all your passwords in a vault, and with this system you only need to know one password to get into all of your accounts, like your email or a bank, password or anything online. If you are using one personal device, the password manager can actually fill in the password for you on that device if you grant it permission, and that would make things even easier for you because it will very quickly log you into your different online accounts. So consider a password manager. Some of the popular ones online are LastPass and 1Password. Next, I wanted to talk about two-factor authentication for accounts. It's the idea that it takes 2 steps to get into your accounts, not just one. One step would be just putting in a password. If this sounds foreign to you, think of it this way. You probably already have systems in your life where you are using two-factor authentication. One of them would be when you use an ATM. When you use an ATM, there are 2 layers of security in place. You have to access your money, you have to have something, that's your debit card, and then you also have to know something, and that is your PIN. In terms of getting into accounts on websites like your email or maybe like a retirement account, same thing. If you set up two-factor authentication, it requires you to know something, which is your password, and it requires you to have something. Generally, this is your cell phone, where you can receive a text message that has a one-time use PIN in it. So to log into that account, it would require your normal password, and then also receiving a one-time use PIN on your cell phone that you'll then type in to log into your account. Now, for email or maybe a social media account, setting up two-factor authentication is optional. You don't have to do it, but it does make your sign-in more secure. On some systems, like a bank or a retirement account, often these days they're not making it optional. They just make you do two-factor authentication because they want to keep their website and their accounts very, very secure. So that is two-factor authentication. Worth considering setting that up so you have additional security on your accounts. Another thing you can do, which is super simple, if you need one step that you can do to be more safe online today, if you want one takeaway, this is it, and that is sign out. When you are on the internet and you are accessing different accounts, your Facebook account, your email account, whatever it may be, when you are done, don't just close out that browser. Make sure that you find a sign out button on the website and click sign out. That ensures that you're actually signed out of your account, and that if anyone else were to get onto that computer and maybe go to Yahoo Mail, it would not automatically sign them into your account. So that is a simple thing you can do going forward, is always make sure to log out of your personal accounts as a security measure for staying safe online. So next I wanted to talk about accessing and disseminating information online, on the internet. Just because it is on the internet, online, doesn't mean it's coming from a reputable source or the information you're reading is true. You really want to think about several things when you are looking at a website or reading information online. So those things, let's see, what just happened there? All right, something happened. I'm going to get back to our presentation. Sorry about that. Here we go. So when you are looking at information online, you want to think about who created the website, who wrote the information. If there's an About Us section, that's great to look at on a website because it may answer your who question. When, look around on a website or an article and see if you can find a date to see when the article was last updated. More current articles are going to be generally more factual and more accurate. Think about, too, when you're reading the information on a website, why was the website created, or why is the information there? What do you think the message or the motive of the person who built the website or is providing the information, why did they create this? Like, what is their viewpoint or what is their stance? Do you think there's any bias with the information that you are reading? And purpose, it's similar to why. So why was the website created? And then thinking about purpose, like think deeply about what does the information say, what is the purpose of the information, what is the viewpoint of the author of the information, is there any bias present? So that can help you look at information online and decide whether you feel like it is accurate information that you want to believe and take as, fact, or whether you need to be a bit more wary or look around at some other websites to get a better idea of if the information is true and factual, good information. This is important to do because, like I said, the internet is a wide open place. There is no regulation on who can post information online. It could be really anyone. Any citizen can easily create a website and post things online. So you do have to be careful about what is being posted and what information you are choosing to believe as factual. The next thing I want to talk about here is encryption. And encryption is another way that information can be kept safe online. Encryption is generally used when you are sending or receiving sensitive information. If you think about it, we do so much online these days just for all different purposes, including, involving sensitive information. You may be filling out a job application that requires you to put in your name and social security number, your birth date. It's important that when that information is submitted, it's submitted in a secure way where someone would not be able to intercept it and steal that information. So this is doing that, keeping that sort of sensitive information secure is done primarily through a system called encryption. So with encryption, encrypted information can only be read by the person sending it and the person receiving it. So in this image on the left, you can see that someone is submitting the message hello, or you could imagine that they're submitting, more sensitive information, maybe like bank account numbers or birth dates or social security numbers. While that information is in transit to its destination, the information is scrambled. So it is encrypted, so it is not legible if someone were to intercept it. Once it receives its destination, maybe you submitted a form and its destination is sent over to your bank. A bank employee who has a password can then use that password to look at your information. They essentially have the key to unscramble your message and see the information that you have sent over to them. So encryption is a great way of securing information by scrambling it when it's in transit. And then the person who needs to see the information can see it because they have a password to view the information securely. Another thing to look out for when you are going online, especially on websites where you're going to be doing things where you are submitting secure information. This could even be shopping online because you're submitting credit card information. You would want to look for at the top of your screen HTTPS, where the website URL is. The S stands for secure. And a website that is secure with HTTPS is using encryption. So that is good to know. Before you go ahead and fill out a job application, glance at the top of your internet window, and if you see HTTPS, you know that that website is using encryption to protect your information. It's a good thing to look out for, but these days many websites, it's become standard to use encryption and HTTPS to keep information secure. So this may not be one that you really have to think about or be worried about. The next thing I'm going to talk about here is some things pertaining to email. So with email, it's become a major method of communication, but it's also become a prime territory for scams. And most of these scams come from spam, which is junk email. So with spam, this is junk email, and generally junk email will have some sort of scam. Maybe they're phishing for information, or they may have a link in the spam email that if you click on it, it would, install some sort of malware or virus program onto your computer. So spam is something to be mindful of. The good news is that most email providers these days, I would say really all of the major ones, include a spam filter. Those identify potentially problematic emails and puts them in a spam box. These filters are great, but they are not perfect, so it's always good to keep an eye out for spam messages. And if you see a spam message, something that looks suspect that you think is spam, in all major email providers these days, you should be able to report that message as spam, which is good because then you will not receive a message from that sender again in your inbox. It would go straight to your spam box, which you don't really have to pay attention to. Those emails are going in there and then they're deleted after generally like 30 or 40, 60 days. But if you do get an email and you believe that it is spam in your email, go ahead and report it as spam. So it leaves your inbox, and then you're also, in a way, training your email that that was a piece of spam mail. Here is an example of a spam email. So some things that stick out to me that make it suspicious. The first one is it's a suspicious sender email address. That does not look like it's actually coming from Amazon. If you look closely at the email address, it actually says Kaylee at flowerathies.win. That does not seem like that's coming from an Amazon employee. The next thing is we do have that nice Amazon.com logo, company logo. It looks legitimate, but be careful. It's very easy to copy or steal a logo these days, so that should not be convincing. The next thing that's suspicious to me is that the email does not address a person by name. Another thing that I'm seeing throughout this email is that there are strange spellings throughout the email. Like it's not using an O in the word Amazon, instead it's using the number 0. Also, there's a link in this email, which do not click on. And their email is, contains a warning and suggests urgency. It's saying that the link expires, so don't wait. You want to click on it to get your reward. Don't Don't fall for this. This is an example of a spam email that you would want to avoid. Don't click on the link in there. It's best to just report it as spam, or if you can't figure out how to do that, just delete this email. Next, I wanted to talk about mobile devices a little bit. So these are smartphones and tablets. Generally, we are carrying these around and we're using them for everyday purposes, but they also carry a lot of personal information on them because we have things like bank apps on our smartphones and tablets. We have passwords, emails, photos, and more. So there are ways to protect this information. One being a passcode. So to get onto your phone, set up a passcode, or you can also use your fingerprint. Generally, by default, you'll get an option for a 4-digit passcode. A 6-digit passcode is actually more secure. A fingerprint is perfectly fine as well. So consider setting up a passcode or fingerprint access on your phone to secure that device better. Another thing you can do on your smartphone or tablet devices is make sure that you are running updates on the actual device system itself, as well as the apps on your smartphone or tablet. What we have here is an image of the Apple App Store, and you can see that there is that number 1 in that red bubble. That number 1 is indicating it's an alert that one app needs an update. So you would want to go into your App Store and push through that update so whatever app it is, whatever program it is, does get that security update. So another thing you can do is you can choose apps that have a bit more security to them. One is Signal, and that is an app you can download onto a mobile device. And it is a messaging app that uses encryption to send your messages. So you're protecting your messages with encryption. And it's available on Apple and Android. A few thoughts about security at home. So this would be on devices like a laptop or a computer. So your best first line of defense on a laptop or a PC computer is to have antivirus software installed on that computer. A lot of these do have free versions if you want to do that, but you can also purchase a more robust pay version of these different programs. And some different names of antivirus programs are Bitdefender, Avast, Avira, and AVG. So if you do not have antivirus software on your computer, please leave today's Tech Talk and find a way to get that onto your computer so it is more secure and you are being protected from viruses. Another thing is that you can use a very secure browser on your device. So 2 browsers that are good and have really good security settings are Google Chrome. That's a good general browser to use. Another one which is a lot more secure is Tor browser, and that is going to give you more extreme privacy. Google Chrome, though, is a good everyday browser that you can use. Tor is a more, hidden, it basically hides your physical location. So it's even more secure. We already talked about password managers, but I will mention again that LastPass and 1Password are 2 password managers. If you're having trouble keeping up with remembering all of your passwords, consider using one of these password managers. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is that on your laptop or a PC, do keep up with updates on your device. So your Windows operating system or your Mac operating system are going to be running updates. These are generally security updates on that device. Go ahead and make sure that those updates run. on your device, because that is going to provide current security assistance on those, your home devices. On Windows devices, it is convenient now because when you shut down or restart your computer, if there are any updates that need to be run, they are automatically run when you shut down or restart. But don't evade pushing through those updates. You would want to run those, and that is another level of security on your device. So that ends what I am going to talk about today. And I am just looking here to see if we've gotten any comments or questions. I am not seeing any here. I do want to say that if you do have any comments or questions, you can put them in the chat box now, or please, contact us at the library. We are open, and we also are doing a lot of virtual classes this fall semester, and we are also doing limited in-person sessions this fall as well. Just given COVID, we are limiting how many in-person sessions we're doing, but we are doing some. All right, I am not seeing any other questions coming in, so I am going to go ahead and end this session. I do want to thank you for listening today. And if you have any questions, please contact us at the library, 216-932-3600. Like I said, we have a lot of programming going on, both virtual and in person. We also can do tech expert appointments, which are one-on-one appointments if you do have something specific that you need help on. All right, so thank you for tuning in today, and this is going to end our Tech Talk. We will be back in a couple weeks with an Appy Hour program, so I hope that you join us for that. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.